welcome. I do not have an intro, but I have the third and final part of our elephant house in our old-timey zoo. We are building an elephant house in our old-timey zoo. Wow. We are building an elephant house. We already did two other parts. If you've not seen them, I guess I'll just link the playlist because there's really also a lot of other cool things in there. But we basically built an outdoor section for the elephants, and we also built the main structure for this building that we're working on today. But this video is just focusing on the interior, so if you want to see the exterior and a lot of the structural work on this, I recommend you watch the first, or I guess the second video of this. And the footage that you're seeing right now is actually kind of from before I even finished the entire exterior in the last video, because in the last video I also said I'm gonna switch kind of between footages because I had to do some interior work to know how big it needed to be. So that's what you're seeing right now, and then there will be a huge jump once this structure work is done to actual detailing to an entirely finished building. So in case you've not seen the last video and you're kind of confused later when it snaps to a different video and there's an entire building around it, that's why. So we are building these little platforms which are for hippos and rhinos. And I also noticed I said that the rhinos are going to be the second animal that I built for twice, because I keep a list of that. If you've not seen it yet, it is on Patreon, but you don't have to pay for it. It's just I would just use Patreon to make that accessible to everyone. But it's linked down below, and you can see a list of all the animals, because I do plan on having built for every animal at least once. So I now keep track of if I built for someone twice. But I also noticed that the second animal that I've built for twice were the bats, and so the third and fourth animal that I built for twice is now the rhino and the hippo, because I also built for the hippo. I totally forgot that, but we did do this river jungle thing, and we had hippos there. So both of these are around a second time, which by the way does not mean that we're done with all the other animals. It's just that they happen to really fit this, so that's why they're here. But these are the platforms for them. Obviously, and I say this in every video, but just in case this is the first video you're ever watching of this, the old-timey stuff is supposed to be old-timey, and what did we not do well in the old-timeys? Been greatly informed of how to keep the animals happy. So this is not up to standard anymore by any stretch of the imagination. It is considered cruel to keep animals like this anymore, and I hope that we're all aware of this, but I do still think that it's quite interesting to look at the history of zoos and how much it has grown. This is very, very heavily inspired, or not inspired, but I do take a lot of old pictures of zoos for this series. I don't usually basically take a lot of inspiration pictures for my builds, but for this I actively wanted that, because I don't want to just make it up or make it worse. Obviously I do have some memories of how zoos used to look when I was a kid. I was born in the 90s, so I still saw quite some old stuff. Luckily, it wasn't built like that anymore, but it's expensive to update zoos. So not everything gets updated right when you get the chance to do that. Actually, I think I have the time to talk about this in this video. If you don't know, I actually work at a zoo, so I know that the way that this works is that you have an enclosure for an animal, and if by the point that the enclosure gets built, it has to be up to the standards, up to everything known on what is required to keep the animal, at least in Europe, by the way. So this is all regulated in Europe. So if by the point that you're building the exhibit, or I guess that it gets allowed to start construction or whatever, gets the permit, it has to be up to all the scientific knowledge that we have about an animal. However, if the knowledge becomes extended, like we know now that something that was okay 10 years ago science has now figured out that this is not what you should do. You are allowed to keep the animal inside this exhibit for, continue to keep it in there, but you are not supposed to do like any breeding efforts, and you obviously don't get granted new animals. So you are allowed to basically keep the animals that have lived there before until those animals die. But if you want new animals, or if you want to actively breed, obviously accident happens, it's biology, we know it. But if you do like conscious efforts to breed, then you need to have the space for it, obviously the requirements for it. So that is kind of how that works. And I think I say this in like every of our videos here. I think it's so interesting to see how, especially European zoos, but I know that American zoos do that too. They keep old structures because old buildings are beautiful. Because we also have to look at this part of it, that zoos are designed and they're beautiful. And so to keep this old beauty but make it work for maybe a different animal, maybe a smaller animal, I think one of the best examples that gets done quite a lot is to use the classic old polar bear exhibit, and we're definitely gonna make one of those in our old-timey zoo. I think that's like a staple for old zoos, is how polar bear exhibits looked. Horrible, but a very, very, like, I've seen this I think 3 times already, like heard of that this is the common way to do it, and also have seen it, to take these standard old polar bear exhibits that are like round, and there's like a concrete, I don't want to say like ice, but something that was once painted bluish white, but now it's just like a set slab of concrete. So they have these kind of enclosures in a lot of zoos, gave up on their efforts to keep polar bears because it was just figured out that this is no way to keep them, and they take these enclosures and make them into monkey enclosures, which is so interesting. Like, obviously they drain the water out of it, and the monkeys get to climb up this like fake mountain, and the guests get a really cool view, because a lot of times I think monkey houses, they kind of have the same layout. You go inside and they are inside, and they maybe also visible outside, but I think monkey houses oftentimes look the same. So these like polar bear things are really cool. And it also, for example, I know I say this in every video, but in the Artist Zoo in Amsterdam, there is, or is it that one? I think it's that one. There is one of those like old polar bear exhibits, and they have mandrills in it now. But there is still an old statue of a polar bear, which I think is really, really cool. That they kept that there, because old statues and stuff, I just think they give so much character. It's really cool. That's also why I really, really wanted to incorporate a statue into this. So there is a hippo statue featured prominently when you walk in, but we'll see that in the real-time part, of course. And yeah, that's just my 2 cents on the topic of old zoos. I feel like I talk about this all the time with this, but I just want to make it clear that in absolutely every of these videos, I want to make it clear that this is not the way to do it anymore, and it's not the way that zoos do it anymore or should do it anymore. And as far as I know, from my work experience, I guess, these it's also not allowed to do that, at least in Europe. And yeah, so, but yeah, I don't know. I'm a big fan of old zoos. I've said in the last video I really want to go to Vienna because it's the oldest zoo. And also I might get my dad to drive with me to Rotterdam, because that's also supposed to be really cool zoo. I know that the lady designer talks about the Rotterdam Zoo all the time, and I think that's kind of like subconsciously making me think that the Rotterdam Zoo is like the zoo of all zoos, but I really want to go there now, and that would be really cool. Okay, so you know how I never stay on the topic of the video? And the last one I actually told a story about elephants, so I guess that's still kind of fitting this elephant house. For this one, I just want to say I had the dumbest week. I had to have surgery. And it wasn't planned. It wasn't a bad thing. It was a minor thing, but wouldn't recommend that. You know, surprise surgery, not really what I was seeing myself doing this week, but I'm okay now. And the funny part is, like, it was yesterday. And the funny part is I was in such a good mood yesterday. I don't know if that was like just overplaying my shock or anything, but I was in such a good mood. I called my dad and I was like, I'm in so much pain and it's so bloody and I'm nauseous, but let's hang out. And my dad was like, no, you stay home. And I don't know, I guess I was in such a good mood. Today, not so much, because I also got medication and not taking that well. So I'm actually quite happy that I got this video done, because I said before I wanted to try uploading on Fridays. So quite a mystery that I've gotten this done. And I definitely, today it's kind of worse than yesterday, but I definitely had to lay down while editing this, which it was not that much footage, but I had to kind of lay down. But I feel like I don't know. It's also really cold. I just want to go to bed. But yeah, so it's not a bad thing. It's nothing to worry about. It was basically a thing that was nothing, but it got infected and they got to cut it out. So yeah. So that happened. I don't know. I don't know. I'm honestly, you know, real talk, super lucky that I live in a place of the world where a surprise surgery, my biggest concern is getting nauseous from the medication and not how I'm going to pay for it. Will I miss work? Like, I know that this is just complaining from a very, very, you know, high point, I guess. I don't really know how to say this. But yeah, the medication's really not doing me well. So I feel like I did good on this voiceover. But if it was very weird, very rambly, if you know, I sounded different, it's probably because I'm so nauseous right now. And I don't know, I know you're not supposed to like be scared by the side effects of medication, but I looked into it and it was like 1 in 10 people experience like nausea, like diarrhea, throwing up, all the things you don't want. And so I'm like, ooh, yay. I hope it's just gonna like I guess I got away easy, if considering that was a possibility. But I don't know. But I feel like, yeah, I'm also like sleepy, which whatever. But yeah. But again, I was in a really good mood anyway. I can't see blood, which is interesting, and I'm interested to know if any of you have the same problem. I can see my own blood. Like, if I were to like get a paper cut and I was bleeding, I would be fine. If I see someone else have a paper cut and bleed, nausea right away. I'm like over there hoping not to throw up. But I notice now that when I'm at the doctor, as soon as the doctor has my blood, I'm like gross and get nauseous from seeing that, which is so dumb because it's, you know, I don't know. And it's also fine, like technically, if like say they take a blood sample, which I hate that. I feel like that makes me uneasy to see the doctor hold this like thingy of blood. I'm like, ugh, no. But if I were to cut myself, that would be fine. And that's so weird. And other people, it's never fine. With other people, can't see it, no. But yeah, I mean, yesterday was a lot. I'm still kind of processing that because I was also, I guess it was prepared. They told me that if it got infected, they would have to do it. But I expected to go in for a checkup and have them tell me, oh, it's infected, we have to cut it out. Let's find a date to do that. I was not expecting to be like, all right, now lay down. And I was like, what? So, yeah. I mean, efficiency, you know? as Germans do love efficiency. Okay, we just reached a point in the video. I don't know why I told you that story, but it's a long video and I have to tell you something, and I don't like to leave off the voiceover, but I have to address something that we just built there in the background. It was just a tiny little thing, but I have to address it. There's chains with the elephants, and that is not how that's done anymore. So very much, at least the place I work at, I know that our animals, or our elephants rather, are not chained up, and they're free to roam at night. I don't know how zoos, if that's a general thing, but I know that definitely not all zoos do that anymore. But it was definitely a thing back in the day, so that the animals, the elephants, they were chained to the floor mostly to stay inside at night, I guess. Maybe all the time. I don't even want to think about it all the time, but they were chained. To some extent, they were chained to the floor. So I did put chains there. I didn't overdo it. I didn't, make it too dramatic, but I kind of wanted to address this with this build. Okay? That was a very complicated sentence, I think. But, yeah. I guess... do I have anything else to say, or will I, for once, let you enjoy the music for a couple of seconds before we do the real-time part? I don't know. Oh, I have one thing to say. I kind of have an idea of what we're gonna do as a new series once our abandoned zoo will be done. So just a quick thing out there. We're not even close to done. I feel like there's still gonna be 1,000 new ideas, and this is gonna drag out for longer, but in case we are done, at whatever point, I kind of know what I want to do next. It's also kind of a smaller thing, but just came to me today that I want to do that. And yeah, all my other ideas are kind of bigger things, and so I would want to wait for one of the bigger series to be done. But yeah, just want to mention that. Okay, I guess that filled the time to the real-time part, so see you in the real-time part. Okie dokie, so we have our entire big elephant family here ready to greet us. I decided to just do an entire tour, basically, of this entire thing. So we're also going to look at the things that we built in the other episodes, just to have an overall round experience. And don't tell me it's kind of uneven, and we're not going to talk about it. We're just not. That is not part of this conversation. Also, excuse me if there's noise in the background. My upstairs neighbor is moving, so they have all the right in the world to be a little bit noisy today. And let's hope that the new neighbors are also just noisy when they're moving. Anyway, so obviously, there's still detailing to do on this side of the path. The elephants are so loud. And I hope that these people will clear up a bit here. All right, let's get into it. Let's put ourselves down here. This is where you would come from once you enter the zoo, and let's find a good spot where there's no one standing yet. And over here, I'm not gonna look at this too long, because if you want to see more details on this, there's an entire video based on just this outdoor section here, but we're gonna make our way through this big crowd of people. So this kind of in-between section. Oh, I just realized that this wasn't off. I'm sorry, I hope that wasn't too distracting. So, this kind of in-between section we built in the last video. Well, elephant steers here. Kind of changed some stuff around here. Made it a bit more groomed. And then this here, I decided that this I'm going to leave empty. Because I don't know. I have some ideas of what animals just to put here. But I figured, there's a good chance that I might, have ideas to build for these animals, build something else. So I'm just going to keep it empty for now, and just put something in there once we do a final tour, I guess. So just be pragmatic about it. Another little elephant statue here. But this is obviously rhinos, and there's one coming out right there. I am very much surprised by the traversable area here. It's working very, very well. So they can very much traverse all of it. I was surprised by it. I will say I did take kind of small rhinos, so these aren't 100% in size, not even close. So maybe that plays into it. I usually try to get big animals, but I also usually don't try to force them into small things like this. So, but yeah, these are the rhinos from the outside, but we'll see them from the inside in a second. The hippos actually don't have an outdoor area because, yeah. So over here we have the reptile house. I'm not sure. I will do something in between. We might do another enclosure here. We might not. And then here's a lot to work on still. I added some more fountain thingies to this because I figured it looked kind of lame the way that we added in the last episode. Like I said, this like flower thing we're gonna fix up once we know what's on the other side of it and how long the paths are gonna have to be for this to look good. But enough talking. Now we're actually in front of the thing that we all came here to see. So, we have this little like picture of the rhino that really came in super handy here. We fixed this up because this is part of the like fountain set, so this had water in it, so I closed it up. I'd still like to put it like some sort of font on here, or maybe here. Still don't really know what to call it. I don't want to say let's like go animal, like elephant house. I think that would be kind of lame, but yeah. So if you have an idea for that, I'm still taking suggestions. And let's go for my new favorite doors. I used them again. I was so excited about them with the reptile house that I was like, you know what? These need another place to be, and this is actually the perfect cliffhanger. Let's just go in the middle. Just kind of guess where the middle is. Go through. Ta-da! So, there's no people in here yet. I didn't open it up for the guests yet. But right now we can see a hippo over here. So let's just take this chance to look at our little hippo friend here. They can actually go into the water, which is surprising. But, I mean, this is a really good close look that you can get. I would not want to trade places with this hippo. And I can't wait to update this zoo and give this hippo like something that it can be happy about. But for now, I think this looks a lot like I imagined it would look. From just seeing the pictures and all that. But yeah, we have a little bit of a fountain here. There's a bench hidden underneath, so people could sit here. Like I said, I really wanted to include the statue, which I did. And then this would be sort of the interior for the rhinos, but they're outside right now, but pretty much the same. This probably should have been higher, looking back at it now, but it is on level with the outdoor. So I can't really make it any higher. Now more fountain, more place to sit here. And then this very like grand stairs here. Oh, I didn't notice that this was clipping through. I'm gonna fix this later. But yeah, we have these little like stairs. There's another little plant here. Another one of those like elephant fences. I'm really into those. And yeah, just go to a little bit of a higher platform here and see the interior of our elephants. They have a little bit of a gap here in between, which I don't know. In the real-time part, there was a picture of one of those sections with the animals, with the elephant. I don't know why I keep saying animals instead of elephants, but there was a picture where they were chained up, and it looked kind of like this. So that's kind of where this came from. Each animal also has a light above it that I kind of included into, the decorational elements here. But yeah, this is basically where you would stand and potentially, shake hands with the animal. Elephant! Oh my god! I don't know. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of like decadent. Definitely more so than some of the other stuff. This is also probably a bit older. We've looked at the inspiration pictures for this, and it is it's doing the animation with this, but with the dust. And but yeah, we looked at the inspiration for this, and it was from a zoo from 1880, so very old, older than most of the things we have here. So I added this like glass roof to it, just make it more fancy, more interesting. So this is definitely something that costs a lot of money to make. and it's probably like one of the like prime things that it has. But yeah, it's inspired by the 1880 elephant house in the Berlin Zoo. I'm not quite sure it's still there, to be honest, but probably not used in this way anymore. I would be very surprised if it was. Oh, the rhino has actually come inside. So this is, you can definitely see that this is a small rhino that I picked from the what's it called, the trading center. But yeah, so I guess that completes our tour. We're obviously going to continue our old-timey zoo with new projects. I kind of want to do some more like outdoor exhibits now, or enclosures now, because we did do 2 big house projects in a row. So I guess it's time to kind of fill those like grassy areas that we still have in between. So I hope that you're excited for the future of our old-timey zoo. I hope that you liked it, and I hope to see you around another time. Bye!